Welcome to today's webinar. I will be your host today. My name is Amy Calm. I have a passion for working. I am with our customer experience. I'm a customer experience specialist with our assisted customer experience team. I have a great passion for making sure that all of our agents are providing the best support possible for our pro advisor and accountants. On the home front, I am usually trying to keep my zoo in check. That is a picture of my blue and gold macaw Charlie, and I always tell everyone that I would never say yes to that again. I do want to pause to say thank you. Today's webinar marks the 1-year mark for us hosting these sessions. I know we really love bringing all of these new features to you, and we appreciate all the feedback along the way to help us optimize these sessions for you. We definitely want to make sure they are what you need from us, so thank you so much for those that have been along the journey all along the way. If you are not, please make sure that it is audio only. I'm going to remind you guys of that. So those of you that are posting in the chat room that you can't hear anything, you will. We do have people on hand, just so you know, we do have people that are monitoring that and helping out the people that are having some audio issues. All right. So let's go over today's agenda. We have some announcements that we're going to make. Then we're going to go into our QBO updates. Some of our features for today include the new QBO Windows app. We're going to talk about projects, and we're also going to talk about Invoice with Google. Today's learning objectives for the purposes of CPE credits are: we're going to discover the function of projects to help your clients tie billable expenses specifically to customers and customer jobs. We're going to learn about the features of the new QBO Windows app, and we're going to understand how to use the Google Calendar app to convert appointments into billable time. Again, for those of you that just joined, this is a computer audio only webinar. There's no dial-in number, so please unmute your computer speakers to listen to the audio portion of today's events. For best results, we do recommend that your computer is hardwired. Also, I want to recommend that you ask as many questions as you want to today about the topics that are being presented today. We will not get to every question, but we will answer every question. And then if you do have a question that's outside of the scope of this topic, of today's topics, we ask that you call our support line 888-333-3451. A little brief about the CPE process. Today's event is eligible for 1 credit of CPE. You must answer all the polling questions throughout the CPE to be able to receive the CPE credit. The CPE credits are going to be emailed to you directly, generally within about 3 weeks of the training, to the email that you registered with. I have to confess that the CPEs from last month, yay, you can hear me, that's great. Thank you. I am apologizing for those of you that are having some audio issues. Hopefully we can get those. We have some great staff available to help you get that set up, so please look for them to be responding to you in the questions. So I do apologize. The CPEs from last month were just sent out. You should have received them sometime yesterday. If you haven't seen them yet, make sure you're checking your spam filter. And for those of you that are new to our webinars, we just want to make sure that you are adding the accountant_training@intuit.com to your approved email sender list, or checking your spam folder. And also, you must keep a copy of it for your records. We have a lot of great free training resources designed just for you, from webinars to in-person events to virtual conferences. All of these events can be found at www.qbtrainingevents.com. If you've attended a QuickBooks Connect event in the past, then you don't need me to tell you the value of these sessions, but you do need me to tell you that you can still sign up for the early bird discount. That discount is going to end on the 31st, so don't delay in signing up. We have a few updates to talk about coming soon to a privacy mode near you. Improved privacy. The dashboard currently contains sensitive data that customers don't want to share with their clients. The current privacy mode does not protect user data well enough. We are updating the privacy mode to remove all sensitive information from a customer's dashboard so that they don't share sensitive info with employees and customers while they're working in public spaces. So this gives the QBO user confidence to know that their sensitive business information is hidden. I'm going to cover this next portion briefly now. We will cover it again at the end of the broadcast. As you know, as an accountant user, you are unable to connect third-party apps from within QBOA on behalf of your clients, which is due to some current system limitations. We are working to restore that functionality for quite some time, and our engineers are really working to provide this functionality and return it back to you. We need feedback. We have a beta test going on right now. We are going to provide you with a survey link at the end of the broadcast, which will be your ticket to apply to be part of this beta. We would encourage you to apply. We will not be able to accept all invites, but we would encourage you to apply. We will post the link at the end of the chat. Okay, great. So without further ado, I know this is what you guys are really here for. So let's get started with the real content here. And our first topic is going to be on the new QBO Windows app, which will be replacing the current Windows and Mac apps. It is my pleasure to introduce Seth Pratt, the product manager for this project. Seth is on the power users and desktop client team. He's a lead on that team. He loves building products that make people's lives easier. He has been here at Intuit for 7 months. He is with our Mountain View, California location. So without further ado, Seth, I am going to turn this presentation over to you.
Awesome, thanks so much. So this is the new Windows desktop app. This is the technical rewrite I was mentioning before. So basically the key features here that I'd like to highlight are the ability to stay signed in, our keyboard shortcuts and menu items, multiple windows, multiple window restoration, and our shift modifier key. So I'll get right into it. So with our desktop apps, you have the ability to stay signed in. So if you want to just have one session, leave this unchecked. If you want to stay signed in, just go ahead and check it before you log in. This will keep you logged in for a period up to about a month, depending on if you're using the app actively. If you're using the app actively, it'll stay signed in longer than that. So we can just sign in. And so this should all be pretty familiar. We've matched the theme of the login and company selector to the QBO screen, so this should all look pretty familiar. And this is the new firm-based identification that rolled out. Let's see. Cool. So I'll start with the keyboard shortcuts, which we have up here. These are also the menu items, so you can do, let's say you want to create a new invoice, you can just go ahead and click Create Invoice, or alternatively, you can just do Control-I, or you can do Shift-Control-I. Or is that diff not landed yet? Okay. Well, as of Monday, you'll be able to do Shift-Control-I, and it'll open up an invoice in a new window. So so then I'll highlight next the multiple windows feature. So within the desktop app, you can have multiple windows. So if you like to work from, let's say, 2 monitors, you can do that. So you could just drag this window right over to the other monitor and compare things. Another cool feature is, let's say you're looking at something on your QBA page, and you get a call from a client, and they need you to look at their books, or they need you to answer a question for them. So then you can switch over to their books. and it'll save those windows. So those two windows that I just had open, like banking and dashboard, I think, the next time I switch back to my QBA login, it'll reload those same windows. And the same is true of any of your clients' books too. So if you're, let's say, you're doing a reconcile for one client and looking at expenses, looking at expenses on another, and you need to switch back to your QBA firm for a moment, these same windows will also be saved. So back to practice. So now you'll see these windows reopen right where they were and right at the same pages they were before. So you see where it, clients and well, they should reopen. Yeah, so let me go back to Essentials, which is the client we were just on. And then we're on expenses and the home page. So this is a multi-platform app, so it'll be on Mac OS as well as Windows, and it's the same features across both. Yeah, so that's the majority of it. Basically, the key features we're highlighting right now are stay signed in, keyboard shortcuts, menu items, multiple windows, multi-window restore, and on Monday we'll have a shift modifier. So if you hold shift when you do any of these items, it'll open up in another window. So basically, all these features are just meant to save you time and increase your efficiency so that you can get through more of your clients' books more quickly with less effort. Yeah. So I'll jump back to the slides here. Any questions? Why doesn't the QBO desktop app have the same menus and functionality of QuickBooks Desktop? I'll go ahead and answer that one first. So the QBO desktop app mirrors the functionality of QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Desktop doesn't necessarily have all the same features as QuickBooks Online, so we can't really mirror the menu of QuickBooks Desktop. Our goal with the QuickBooks Online desktop app is to make the experience as close and as user-friendly for QuickBooks Desktop migrators as possible. So that is something that's on our radar and something that we're working towards. We want to enhance the navigation because we hear that that's a common complaint coming from QuickBooks Desktop. So the desktop app will not work if your internet goes down. It's connected over to the QuickBooks Online. So if the internet goes down, it will not work. So both clients open at the same time. The answer to that is no. We're working on adding that functionality though, so that you can have multiple clients and multiple windows.
There was and Seth, I noticed that someone had asked, bear with me here just a second, let me find it. Thanks for all the great questions, guys. I really appreciate it. And just remember, keep them coming. Even if we don't get to all of them, we will answer all of these questions that are related to the content today. there was a request for you to review part of this one more time. To demonstrate the opening multiple windows again. I don't know if you could bring that up one more time.
Yeah, so there's a few ways to do it. You can do you can right click and open link in new window, or you can go file new window, or you can just go Command N, or if you're on Windows, it'll be Control N, and that will also open up a new window.
Mm-hmm.
And in regards to the question that I see right now, can I open two QB on different tabs? That's functionality that we're going to have in place probably by August 18th or so is the goal. So it'll be multi-tab and multi-window.
Okay. Okay, great. And then let's see, let's do 2 more questions here. One was,
and you should be able to open reports in a new window like trial balance. That is functionality that should work.
Yeah.
And this is available for download now if you guys want to try it at all. The beta is on the QBO login screen download app page.
Mm-hmm. Great. And it's available in just PC?
It's available for Windows and Mac. Currently, we don't support Windows 32-bit. So if you have a 32-bit Windows 7 or Windows 10 machine, that won't work. That will work in about 3 weeks. We're going to add that support for our mid-August release.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you so much, Seth, for that. And if you have other questions about this, well, please feel free to continue to ask them. We will go ahead and make sure that they all get answered. Those answers will be posted on the In the Know website, and they will also be sent out in an email to you in about a week. So next, we're going to talk about projects. And of course, the largest feature request for QBO has been projects. When businesses work on projects, invoices, expenses, timesheets, etc., their project work gets scattered in so many different places, and projects is a way for us to organize that data into one place. Why is project tracking, and what is it, and why is it so important? When project-based businesses start working with their clients, it usually begins with a project, a job, or an engagement. With project tracking, we aim to serve the natural workflow that underlies the way these businesses operate, provides users with a more intuitive way to neatly organize and see the various pieces of financial data related to their projects in one place. So I am happy and here today to present on the highly requested and much anticipated feature is our product manager, Pawan. Pawan is QuickBooks Online product management team. He is passionate about solving the challenges small businesses face in managing their business and their books. He has been with Intuit for 2 years now, and he is based out of Mountain View, California. Without further ado, Pawan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Amy. Before I begin, can I just confirm you guys can hear my audio okay?
Yes.
Take that as a yes. Thanks everyone for joining us on this webinar, and we are incredibly proud to share with you this new feature that we are bringing to life. It's called Projects, and it aims to solve some very key problems for businesses who are in the services industry or in professional services or field services. And for a long time, these businesses have struggled with the problem of actually seeing their data in one place. If you've attended conferences like Scaling New Heights or some webinars lately, you might have heard about this feature already. We've also sent out a few communications around this feature. It actually exists in QuickBooks Labs today, and if you haven't given a try to this feature yet, I'm going to show to you how to turn this on inside Labs and play with it. But let me just first get into the context a little bit and describe to you the problems it tries to solve. So for a lot of project-based businesses, imagine these businesses could be consultants or they could be interior designers. So let's say, your client is an interior designer. They would have a really hard time putting together or connecting the 2 invoices, 3 expenses, or 3 timesheets that made up their last project. And inside QuickBooks, when they come in, they really have to dig through piles of invoices or piles of expenses and hop on from one tab to the other to actually locate these pieces of information. And there is no easy way to organize this. And QuickBooks has been really privileged and lucky that we have a really strong accountant and pro advisor community out there. And you have actually figured out some very creative workarounds to actually solve and mitigate this problem. And those workarounds have been sub-customers or class tracking. And for a long time, while you've been waiting for true support for projects or jobs to arrive inside QBO, you've actually done a really good job of actually teaching your clients or even working yourself through those workarounds. But let's admit it, these workarounds have not been intuitive, they've not been natural, and it takes a lot of work to actually set these up inside QuickBooks Online. Worse still, I think some of you might remember that once you teach these workarounds to your clients, they come back and they sometimes forget about these workarounds, and then you have to teach and reteach these workarounds to them. So overall, it was really a situation which could have deserved more investment and help from QuickBooks. And we are so proud that we are shipping projects now, which aims to actually address this void and gap. And it addresses 2 main problems, which is actually organizing this information for small businesses. And so we want to lead them to a world where they can actually see all their data in one place, project by project, because that's how they work. And second, it's really challenging for them to assess their project profitability. When we talk to businesses who are project-based in those industries, they tell us they actually don't have a good idea of what their project or job profitability is, and they would actually crave to find out what that number or margin number is. But it gets really tedious to do all that number crunching, and we also aim to solve that problem with projects and make it more intuitive and easy to get to your profitability number. So let's jump right into the demo. And I'm going to share with you how projects tries to accomplish that. So I think just to begin, I'm going to show to you how do you turn on projects from inside QuickBooks. And this question is important because this feature is still out there inside QuickBooks Labs. It is not inside QuickBooks by default, but we are working to get there. Again, let me just show to you how to access QuickBooks Labs. QuickBooks Labs is a feature which exists inside the settings gear box that you see on the right-hand side of my screen right now. So I pull up the gear box and you go to your company and you can pull up QuickBooks Labs from here. And the very first entry we have on QuickBooks Labs is track your projects. And so this entry actually gives you a neat video, and you can actually see how projects works and play this video if you want to see the demo. And once you're convinced, you can turn this feature on from here. And what it does is it enables projects inside QuickBooks Online. And when projects is enabled inside QuickBooks Online, you are going to see it inside the left navigation menu on your screen. So since I already had turned this on, and you're seeing on my screen, I have quite a few projects going on. I already have this in my left navigation menu. And so you're not starting with an empty screen today. But when you will be creating it for the first time, you might see an empty screen and you might have to first get started with creating your first project. So let me just show you what it takes to create a project and get that going. So let's imagine I'm an accountant, even though I'm not proficient and I'm just getting there. I'll try to pretend I'm an accountant, and I'm trying to help my client, Emma, who's an interior designer, and trying to help her get started on a project. So let's create a project. This project is going to be called a design project. And this project is for a customer called Emma Richards. And let's say these designs are due on 8/21. So these 3 fields are all it takes to actually get your project going. And if you see here, these 3 fields are what let me start my project here. And once I'm in the project's main screen, I see 2 main sections out here. One is an overview section, which gives me access to some customized reports, which can make my life easy. The other one is the transactions view, which currently is empty because we just created this project and we are yet to populate any data here. But there is a big button here which says add to project, and this exists so that you can start tagging different kinds of transactions inside QuickBooks to this project. So let's just start with maybe an invoice, and I'm going to show to you how an invoice is going to work. Since some of you might be seeing it for the very first time, in this flow, I'm going to probably do things once or twice just so you get the hang of it. Again, the way I started doing the invoice was I went to the project screen, I picked the add to project menu, and there are a bunch of transactions out here, but I'm going to speak to you about invoices. So I'm starting Emma Richards design project, and when I start my design project, I typically like to start it with like an initial consultation, and this initial visit is going to incur some expenses for me. So I'm going to actually charge some money to Emma for the 2 visits that I'll do here. So that's $150, and then I'm going to do some design sketches for Emma, and that's going to again cost maybe take 3 rounds of design iterations, and I do want $300 per iteration. So it's about $1,050 of work, and I think I'm all set up here. And if you noticed, because I began this invoice from the project center, from the customer screen, from the customer drop down here, sorry, this invoice is already tagged to this design project because I actually began it from the project screen. So we save you one extra click, 2 extra clicks there. But over time, you'll come to realize that because we are not inventing new flows for you to tag it to a project, but we are really using existing drop downs, existing fields. It's not a lot of behavior change for anybody using QuickBooks. I think one question you're going to ask me is probably going to be, oh, can I begin an invoice or an expense from anywhere else inside the product and also tag it to a project? And the answer is going to be yes. So let me show you, if I'm going to work on a time activity on this project, how is that going to be able to get tagged to a project? And notice that this time I actually didn't begin from the add to project menu. I'm actually starting from this create menu on the header, and I'm looking for my single time activity. I have an employee named Rita, and Rita is actually going to work on this design project. And so there is a customer drop down here, but we've actually enhanced it, and we are calling it the customer/project drop down now. And you can actually pick your existing sub customers or your projects right from here. And then this, by entering time here, you are actually tagging it to that project. So I'm going to enter like 2 hours of time at $45 per hour. Like these were some design sketches that Rita was working on. And then I'm going to save and close this. And you see that because I tagged it to my project, the transactions view now is actually populating, and you're seeing a bunch of transactions coming in now. I'm going to switch gears a little bit now and pretend I'm another kind of business. I'm no longer a designer now. Maybe I'm a travel consultant here. So my company is actually called Anna's West Coast Travels, and I'm a travel consultant. And I had actually organized a vineyard trip for Emma back 1 or 2 months ago. And one of the questions that these project-based businesses, consultants, trip planners, or even designers, they tend to ask themselves a few questions around, what did I actually work on for this client, and have I really built everything that I was supposed to build out to them, and what is the scope of work I did for them? So once they come to the transactions view, since they've been tagging this to their project, you can actually see a timeline of your data here. And if you sort this, there's some neat sorting functionality here, and you can sort this and see data in the order that you want to see. You can also take a look at the status of different invoices, whether they've been paid or closed or not, and also take some actions from here. Another question, like I was referring to in the beginning, is a profitability question. I'm very interested in knowing, was Emma's vineyard trip that I organized really profitable or not? And so if I pick up the project profitability report, it's going to give me a view of the income side and the expenses side, and I can then see what my profit or loss was. This helps me answer the question of whether I lost or made money on Emma's vineyard trip. And I think really the benefit of using projects inside QuickBooks now is that you wouldn't have to actually go inside the reports menu and actually customize these reports. Like in the past, when folks were using the sub-customers workaround, you actually had to go hunt around inside the reports tab, find the right P&L or other report, and actually hit customize and really save it. We are saving you all that extra work because we are providing you access to those reports right inside the project CO. So that was the first report, project profitability report. Another good report to see is the unbilled time and expenses report. So for example, if you see the unbilled time and expenses report is going to tell you what is your to-do list of all the things that you still need to bill Emma Richards for. Now, since this is an old project that I wrapped up back in July, I think I don't have any to-dos outstanding. I've billed for all my time and expenses. Let's go back to that design project I was talking about. I had created a billable time activity there. And so if you see here, Rita had spent 2 hours working on those design sketches, and that's surfacing inside this report. So over time, you'll see any billable expenses that you will mark inside projects or tag it to a project will also surface inside this report, and this becomes an easy to-do list for you to decide what you're supposed to bill out next. Another good report here is the non-billable time report. And again, this gives you a picture of any time which is non-billable. So if we, for example, if we would have marked the time charge for Rita as non-billable, that time would have shown up here. So I'm going to save and close that time, and now you see the non-billable time report is now showing Rita's time because we just changed it from being billable to non-billable. So businesses spend a lot of time working on projects, and not all of that time is sometimes billable. And so by providing you another report to actually understand your non-billable time, we are just providing you a lens to look at the time you're spending across your project on not only billable activities, but also non-billable ones. So I think this was a brief overview of projects, how to use it, how to get to it. As I said, once you enable this from inside Labs, it starts featuring inside your left navigation menu. You can continue using your current workflows the way you currently work and assign projects. That's all going to work just the same way. We have also provided you some flows to expose projects in other sections that you used to see or interact with inside QuickBooks. So for example, on your customer section, if you'll click on Emma Richards, you will not only see all the transactions related to Emma across all her projects, but you will also see the list of specific projects that you work on for Emma. And so projects is also being exposed in other areas inside of QuickBooks once you enable projects, and not just inside the projects tab. So that's another piece of insight I want to leave you guys with. Projects is a new feature. We are testing this inside Labs, and we are going to actually launch this very soon, and by default, and you won't have to then go and hunt inside QuickBooks Labs and turn it on. But we'd really appreciate your feedback because this is still early days for projects, and so we've actually enabled this widget here, which can help you send us feedback. We are actively monitoring all our listening posts, and we'd love to get your feedback and actually learn from it and improve projects in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Pawan. We do have a few questions, and the first one I think we need to do is make sure that they know where to go turn this on in Labs. If you could demo that real quickly.
Right, so let me show you guys again. Again, Projects is only available for QuickBooks Online Plus users. So if you are on QuickBooks Online Essentials or Simple Start, you may not be seeing projects right now. Make sure you are on a Plus company, and then go on to QuickBooks Labs. The way to access QuickBooks Labs is click on that settings gear in your menu header on top. Go to QuickBooks Labs. Again, once you are on the QuickBooks Labs page, you'll see this entry called Track Your Projects, and there is a toggle on or off button here. Make sure you toggle it to on, and then you'll get projects.
Okay, great. All right, thank you so much. We are really getting with such a great big project. We are going to only take 1 or 2 questions, but just keep in mind we are going to answer every question. After the broadcast will be emailed out to you. So One of the questions that came up was if this is the same as classes in desktop. And can you briefly talk to that?
So I think what you might be realizing is that the functionality we are offering from the get-go here is similar to what you're experiencing with classes or with sub-customers. But I think one thing I'd like to highlight is that this way of doing or working with projects is way more natural and intuitive for new users who are coming to QuickBooks Online or your clients. It's very easy to teach it to them. So we feel that you would actually, if you invest in this method, you would have to do less hand-holding for your clients because it will be very intuitive and natural for them to understand how to work with projects. It's also very similar to how Jobs works inside QuickBooks Desktop. And we are going to significantly enhance this feature in the future. So, even though right now it may seem like it's accomplishing roughly the same thing accomplished by class tracking, in the future, as we start investing more in this feature, you will see that it'll get further ahead of class tracking.
Great, thank you so much for that. All right, that's all the time we have. We need to make some time for our other topic. So I think now we're going to go ahead and have a poll question. Thank you so much, Pawan, for the great introduction to that fantastically long-awaited feature. And at this time, where it's time for our final topic, the Invoice with Google Calendar app. This is a great way to convert your billable time directly from your calendar into an invoice in QBO. Here today to present on this slide is our customer support specialist, Brandy Black. Brandy is a senior customer experience specialist here in Tucson. She is on the apps team. Her passion is connecting our customers to an ecosystem of opportunities. She has been with Intuit for 5 years now. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Brandy.
Awesome, thank you. Can everyone go ahead and see my screen all right? Let's make sure we're seeing there. All right. So what I'm going to go ahead and do today is I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a demo of how to connect Invoice with Google Calendar, as well as a quick little demo of how that will work for you. So here today, we'll go ahead and start just from logging into our normal QuickBooks Online account. I do understand that a majority of you are accountants or run your QuickBooks Online within a QBOA firm, and you will not be able to connect this for your clients. However, if your clients are able to do this, it makes it easier for you to be able to create invoices for them or do bookkeeping in such if necessary. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to connect the app to get started here. On the left-hand nav bar, we'll select Apps. And once that loads up, we'll select All Apps. And you can either search for it here by just typing in the word Google. That will actually bring that top one up for you if you'd like. Or typically, you'll notice it's down within on our trending ones because it's a pretty popular ad right now. So we'll go ahead and click into our app card, which will give us the ability to get app now. And just to inform you all, you do not need a G Suite account for this within Google. This can be used with a free Google account, such as Gmail, that you can normally sign up with. So no fees with the app, no fees with the service. It's a free integration. So I highly recommend that everyone that could benefit from this or uses Google Calendar for any time that is billable to go ahead and check it out. So I'll go and say, let's get started, give permission here. And all this really is doing is it's going to be doing a screen scrape of your events over to, probably should have enabled that, to bring the events over into your system. Along with that, what it will also do is it will read your contacts, so it will understand that. In future releases, as we continue to grow this app integration, we will have it to where our customer information flows over between the two systems as well, which will be awesome. As of right now, that is not a feature that is available, but we have heard tons of feedback on that, so we are investigating how we can make that possible for you. So at this time, we'll go ahead and say yes, allow. Please tell me my internet connection did not have a problem. Let's try this one more time here. There we go. My apologies. All right. And so here, what it'll ask you, the first thing is, what default service / product item from within QuickBooks would I like to set as my default item to show up on invoices for my billable time? And typically I prefer to use hours, as that is what I'm charging for. So I'll go ahead and save. Now I have that as my default, and I will connect the app. Now we're all set. So very simple setup, not very robust or complicated. And so now that everything is all set up, we will now see this lovely Google Calendar icon located within our invoice creation screen, which will allow us to bring everything over. So let me go ahead and walk myself over to our Google Calendar. So as you see, last week, I had a few appointments with some of my clients. I reviewed some books for Sam. I had a lunch with Katie, which was a paid lunch that we needed to go over some of our work, pulled reports for another client, and even provided some estimates for new clients of mine. So I'm going to go ahead and bill for these as I wish. I will come back over to my invoice, and upon selecting the Google icon, I will then have a drawer that pops out from our right side. Couple of cool things that we've integrated into the newest version here is that you now have the ability to select multiple calendars in which you can access or have access through your Google Calendar. Even shared calendars. So for instance, I have a shared calendar that is from one of my clients here. I can search through a certain date range or even by keywords. So I'll go ahead and search Andrea's calendar actually, which is one of my clients who shared an event with me. And there's my event that I have from Andrea's calendar. I will go ahead and show you the counterpart of that on the Google side. You see here under other calendars, I have Andrea's calendar, which is a shared calendar here. And just earlier this week, she had placed a meeting on here with Sam for me so that I am aware of what she scheduled on my calendar. I can go ahead and bill for that now that it is passed. I will select that meeting. You can simply hover over this as well to make sure that it is the right time slot that you're selecting for, just to confirm. And then I will add to my invoice. Here you will notice that it has placed in my service date in which the actual event happened, my default product and service, which I selected upon setup, my description from the event calendar or calendar event, as well as a default rate. Now this can be set to 0, but this rate that came through is connected to the actual product and service. So whatever I set up in my product and service within QuickBooks will be that default rate that'll show up on the line when adding these events in. If you charge different rates, we would recommend leaving it at 0 so that you can manually type in the rate depending on that event at that time. Again, more feedback to come. We would love to hear what you would use this for and what other features you'd like implemented in that so that we can improve this and make it a little bit better. From here, we'll go ahead and I will bill Andrea since she is the client of mine actually. And then I'll be able to go ahead and save and close. Now I've billed for that time, and that is all. No duplicate entry needed or anything of that sort. And for those that might have used our Google Calendar app in the past with our version 1, you might remember that you used to have to type in crazy coding plus $, this, that, just to get a rate and a customer and everything in, and for it to flow over to QuickBooks within here. And we totally eliminated that. It was very confusing for our customers, and we wanted it to be the most simple experience possible for you with minimal effort from your side. We didn't want to disrupt your current workflows, and we wanted to be able to bring that information over into QuickBooks. So with that, I'd love to answer some questions if we have some time. So I will go ahead and open that up.
We are going to ask one quick question, and then we're going to do some back-to-back polls here. So you guys get a 2-for on the polls, but really quickly, is this option available for Outlook? That's been the biggest question in the chat room.
That is not available for Outlook at this time. That is great feedback, though. I can bring that back to the developer team so that we are aware of other calendar apps that our clients are using or our customers are using, and how we can continue to make integration successful.
All right, you guys hopefully are seeing my screen now. Are you guys all seeing my screen? And I know if you guys have to leave, I understand that we are at time. Appreciate your valuable time here today. I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of the Accountants Help Hub, the resources that are available to you, lots of questions that have already been answered. Right? You can dream big there, Richard. I know you can do it. This is where you find it. It's right there in your QBOA. You're just going to go to that little question mark there, and there is Accountants Help Hub. You can also learn about new product features. So you don't even have to wait for this webinar to see what's coming up. It's all right there for you. We're trying to keep this your go-to place for everything QuickBooks Online related. You have webinars for your clients that are available. Those are going to be at QuickBooks.intuit.com under Learn and Support. Lots of different free tutorials to teach them the ins and outs and the basics of how to run their QBO efficiently. This is our In the Know webinar hub. And as you can see there, if you go, here it is, the ability to register for next month. And I know you guys don't want to miss it. And this is where we will have different segments of today's webinar. So you don't have to watch it all at once. You can watch it in pieces if you want to, as you have time. And that's it today, guys. This includes the content portion of the webinar. I want to thank you guys for attending today. It's been a pleasure to be your host.